In response to the state's historic drought, the California Water Commission unanimously approved tighter turf regulations to reduce outdoor water use by up to 35%. Here with the new rules and tips on drought-tolerant landscapes are my guests, Matthew Adams, Vice President of San Diego's Building Industry Association, and Nan Sturman, botanist and host of the KPBS television series A Growing Passion. And Matt, what are the new rules on turfs or lawns, and how do they compare to earlier restrictions?
Well, the primary change is that your maximum amount of turf is going to be about 25%. That's a reduction from the 33% that we have had since the last iteration in 2010, plus a requirement for more drip irrigation and micro spraying for new
So
dwellings.
that 25% is part of a total landscape.
Total
and
landscape.
That's for new homes, old homes, businesses. Who does that apply to?
It's primarily for new home construction. If you're going to refurbish your property, and if you're in excess of 2,500 square feet, then the new rules would apply to that as well.
I see. Now, Nan, what are some alternatives to having lawns or turf in your yards, especially for people who don't like cactus?
There is a huge palette, fortunately, that's come on the market slowly over the last several years of low water plants that are perfectly suited to use in our landscapes. In fact, they're better suited for our landscapes than turf, which is exactly the reason for doing all of this.
Because it reduces water. What about the idea that if you change these plants out in the grass, there's going to be more dust or more heat? Is that the case?
Well, there will be more dust and heat if you leave the dirt bare, or if you put in rocks or concrete. But if you install plants in place of turf, actually you're probably cooling even more, because the cooling factor comes from the blades themselves, and these larger plants have more leaf surface area, and so they probably cool more.
We just saw some video from the Water Conservancy, so they have a lot of good ideas there, right? In Cuyamaca. All right. Matt, how much water does the state actually want to save under these new restrictions? Because it used to be, I think, 33 or something percent that you could have of a lawn, and now dropping down to 25%?
Now it's 25. It's all in an effort to sort of get at the use of water for landscaping, because statewide it exceeds 50% of all water use is attributed to landscaping, not so much interior. We have been working very hard to improve the water efficiency of new dwelling units, and plus with this movement to multifamily, and compared to single family, you're using less water as well. So the one nut we really have to crack is the landscaping and the outdoor water use, and this is an attempt to do that.
What about some of the arguments against these restrictions? Are you hearing anything of that from maybe turf industry or freedom fighters for lawns, anything like that?
I haven't heard from the lawn freedom fighters.
All right.
Maybe the croquet people, because we don't have as much there. But no, not really, because we've sort of been transitioning into this anyway with the new technologies and drip irrigation, and of course recognizing our responsibility as Californians that we have to be more efficient with the way we use water. And as I said, we've done it inside, and now the focus is to do it on the outside, where you can really get the savings.
And when do the new lawn restrictions, it's for the state of California, when do they take effect?
They take effect December 1st of this year, and it's going to be easier to change your landscaping than your lifestyle, so it's going to be okay.
All right,
it's more than just lawn. I mean, there's components of this model water efficiency landscape ordinance include gray water, includes rainwater capture, and there's a whole lot more to it than just turf.
Right, the gray water, especially after this big rain, of course, people are like, wait, all this water is running off. So we're thinking gray water for personal use, like in the yards, and also citywide?
Well, gray water is the water that comes out of your house after you've used it. We're talking about, so both gray water and rainwater capture, which would be like the rainfall we had yesterday. And yes, I watched it going, gee, I wish I could capture more than that.
I think so many of us in San Diego felt that. Now, what about this idea of, fine, you still want this green lawn, why not replace it with artificial turf, or that fake grass, as a lot of people call it?
We were having this conversation before. Fake grass is fake grass. It's just fake. It doesn't achieve any of the environmental factors that plants do. It doesn't cool the environment. It doesn't sequester oxygen. It needs to be washed. I was telling Matt that I was speaking to the Fallbrook Garden Club recently, and the outside of the community center where I was speaking, they had artificial turf, and it was growing weeds because it needs to be washed. And obviously it had accumulated enough dust that when the weed seeds blew in, They just germinated. There's all kinds of issues with
other options available.
Please don't go there.
All right, we are out of time. Nan Sturman and Matthew Adams, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, Peggy.